You haven't noticed we have another object in our room today. No, okay.
Sure.
Oh my God, it's on. Right. It is fake. The reason that we're doing this is, everyone just kind of like put your butt in the seat there. The reason why we're doing this is because Mr. Squarsha has asked that every teacher tape themselves at least once, now, sometime between now and the end of January. So you may see other teachers doing this. We're supposed to do one period, but I'm doing an entire day. Because I just want to see how I change. Like if my mood is the same in my troublesome third period as it is in my first period or in my last period. See, like if I'm doing anything that I'm going to be aware of throughout the course of the day. So, kind of for my own purposes.
Can we watch this back?
Yeah, well, maybe. Thinking about it.
It's on.
Maybe next period, or maybe next Friday.
Unnecessary Zoom.
Make you watch this back?
I don't know if we're gonna have to watch it. Maybe next Friday. Okay, so the idea behind this is you guys just act like you normally would in a normal class environment, okay? And then we're gonna just evaluate it.
Why does she do that?
She doesn't know. Sorry. All right, I'll pass back your letters, which, by the way, were really much better than they were the first time.
Geez, you're on time.
What are you reading paper?
Yo, where was Ken yesterday? He didn't go to school. Where were you guys going?
What?
Where were you guys going yesterday?
I wasn't going anywhere with you.
Bullshit. Where were you going?
What?
Where were you going?
Andy, you're on tape.
Where were you going?
I wasn't going to school at all.
I know.
Okay.
Where'd you go?
I went to Mom's Creek.
You want to go tomorrow?
Denise, get that paper, please. Thank you.
Florida?
Go on.
Can't you tell?
Not Florida.
The boot's going the wrong way. The boot's going the wrong way.
No.
Jeff. Hello. Sing a song. Jeff, how come I'm not in there?
Because I put mine now. Look. Woody. Hey, hold each other. Other side.
Maybe I think they run something.
What is this?
Okay.
An extra envelope.
No.
Put
Mrs. Scarson.
Put them both into one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your parent, and Mr. Cornell. Okay, guys. This is, they are very good letters. I was really pleased. Okay, I think you did a really good job after having seen my comments on the rough draft, and maybe seeing a sample letter helped you a little bit too, okay? Almost all of you ended up correcting the most existing problem, which was that you weren't asking for anything. And almost all of you that I read again then did ask for something. Like, I would like to hear back from you in 2 weeks, or I would appreciate you would vote concerning my opinion, all that stuff. Which is good, because remember that you're paying these guys to be in Congress, and therefore you have a right to tell them what to do. Okay? So that's the attitude you should have when you write a letter. the way I graded them is this. Everybody has, they're worth 20 points each. And if you did it absolutely perfectly and handed it in on time, you got 20 points. If you did not hand in a rough draft, you lost 2 points. Okay? So if you handed in one letter and not another, you got 20 for one and 18 for the other if you didn't have a rough draft. Okay? You lost 3 points if you didn't follow directions, like if you had both national letters or both state letters. Okay, only a couple people did that. They had like, they wrote to Don Ritter and John Hines, or Don Ritter and our inspector, or Offerbach and Snyder. They have to be a state and a national. So almost everybody has an easy 20 points on 2 letters. So you did a pretty good job on that. Do you have your stamps? Okay, my apologies again for you having to do it. Okay, if you don't have them, don't worry about it. I'll throw in the quarter or something and we'll get them mailed out, okay? So if you do have them, put them on and just leave them at the end of the period. I'll mail them at the office. If you don't have a quarter, don't worry about that either. I'll take care of it. If you don't have a stamp, okay? If you don't have your letters in, get them in because it's an easy 20 points for you. All right. Any questions on these letters? Okay. What I want to do, we're done with what's going to be on the test tomorrow. So what I just want to do is review this period.
Go. I don't do anything. Go. I think Michelle Miller will do anything. Do you want? We're going to Bob's Big Boy tomorrow?
What?
No, I have an algebra test for Screw it.
Yeah, you'll have to, if you get
Just when he gets to
else
the door.
you won't have to stay
Well, you
tomorrow.
can go because you're.
If you do get it, but you can. It's up to you. Okay,
I left your head to ask you.
how do you want to review? Do you want me to ask you questions? Do you want to do one of those maps again where we draw things coming off Congress?
That was what it worked.
What?
I think you should like basically, you know what's gonna be on the path. I think you should like indirectly ask questions about it.
Okay.
Okay, no.
Should we run through this study guide to make sure that you know it?
It's all this won't be on the test.
Well, just section 1, section 4 will be.
What do you think's important to do, right? Pick something?
Section
Say you run through this and
Okay. I think I'm gonna do, then you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, what we're gonna do is just gonna run through the study guide with you. Okay, stopping at each question and whoever wants to may answer. Okay, and then I've put in some extra stuff, so I'll have to tell you about that. All right. Okay, what part of the Constitution outlines the powers and duties of Congress? Wait, Article 1. What are some of these powers, Andy?
The right to raise an army, the right to raise revenue, and the right to declare war.
Good. Those are 3 things that Congress can do. What may the House and Senate do specifically? What are some things that the House only may do? Impeachment. That's okay. Impeachment, money bills. And money bills. Okay. If George Bush wants money, he must go through the House to do it, and then of course it has to go to the Senate to be passed, but the House starts it. Okay. How about the Senate? What only may it do? Teal.
advise and consent the president.
On what kind of things?
Treaties.
Treaties? Justices? Okay. Josh? What?
Powers of Article 1, basically.
Powers of Article 1, okay. So it advises and consents the president on things like treaties with foreign countries, new appointments to the Supreme Court, okay, or to the cabinet positions. Anything like that has to go to the Senate.
But they tried the impeachment.
Yes, they also try the impeachment. The House originates the impeachment, and then the Senate tries it. I guess it's a little bit of separation of powers there. Okay. All right. Prior to the 17th Amendment, how are members of the House chosen? House only for the 17th. Andy's very eager to tell me. Terry. Yeah. People. Okay. How about the Senate before 17th? Denise.
State legislature.
Mm-hmm. And in your opinion, what was wrong with that? Now you're stuck.
Oh, it didn't give the people their power to vote. Like, they didn't have their say in it.
Right. So after the 17th Amendment, what was then decided would happen in case of the Senate? Andy? Popular vote to elect the senators. Good. Any questions so far? Please feel free to ask if you are confused. Okay. Qualifications of office for a congressman. This goes along with your chart, which we'll get to in a second. How old must a House member be to run for office? 25. How long must he have been a U.S. citizen? Dale? 7 years. Where must he live? Carrie? Must he live there? Like, is it required that he live there? Okay. He must live in the state, but as a custom, he usually lives in the district, he or she. Okay? Make sure you understand that it's not a law that they must live in the district, it's a custom. How about the Senate? How old do you have to be? Tara?
30.
30. And how long do you have to be a U.S. citizen? 9 years. And where must you live? Right. Okay. How many senators are there? All together. Total number. 100. Okay. Is this number fixed? No. Why not?
Yes, it is. The number of senators is fixed, but the number of states isn't.
Okay. Tara, explain.
More states could be added to.
So I said the number of states isn't
Or
fixed.
they could be
No.
taken away, so then that would make the total number go down.
Okay. Andy, you're saying the right thing, but you're confusing yourself with your own words. Okay. The total number of senators is not fixed. The number constitutionally per state is fixed.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Right. But the total number is not fixed.
That's what you specified.
Okay. Is the total number of senators fixed? No. Because you have 50 which can change and 2 which cannot. And then you get 100. And then if we would add a state, lose a state, it would change. Okay. What population do they serve? In other words, what is a senator's constituency? Kendra? Right, their state. What did you say? 2 per state? But that's how many each state has. But who are a senator's constituents? Like, who does he represent? Yeah. Yeah. Like, who does John Hines represent? One now. And he's
About 550,000.
that's representative. Yeah. Tara.
Isn't it just the population within that state?
Right. Okay. The senator's constituency is everybody in that state. Okay, so when you go to elect a senator, you will vote for the 2 people for the state equally. Okay, they may not all be up for re-election the same year. Okay, but you will vote for those people. So John Hines and Ellen Spector represent everybody in Pennsylvania. Okay. How many representatives are there? U.S. total number. Jen,
435.
is this number fixed?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Not on there,
Because
but
the Congress said no more. Or it will keep growing and it's going to get too big.
okay. Now, because what population do they serve? What is their constituency? District. Someone said it over here. Okay. Kendra. Okay. Do you understand the difference between that? Okay. A congressman or representative only has a district. So somebody in Pittsburgh would not be electing Don Ritter. Only the people in his district would be electing Don Ritter. But Pittsburgh or Philly or Potter County, Pennsylvania, we would all be electing Hines Spector. Okay? Andy?
Say California drops out, they want to be from their own country. Would they take 3 other house reps from 3 other states? Why
I
is it
guess
fixed?
that could happen. I
So
guess
it's always
assuming
not
that we're not gonna lose any states.
Then why
It's
isn't that the
fixed.
same for the senators?
That's a good question. The reason why we say it's fixed is because they just decided it can't get any bigger. So I guess it could feasibly get smaller if we would lose a state. Okay, but we're probably not going to do that unless there would be an earthquake in California right now. Tara?
Was that decided by a law in
Yes. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? Okay, what constituency everybody serves? All right. And yes, the district is 550,000 people. Okay, that's where you're getting that number. All right. Reapportionment. Why is it needed? First of all, what is it? And another hand. Somebody new and different. Lisa.
Reshaping district boundaries to account for population loss or gain so that people are equally represented in Congress.
That's beautiful. Okay. Reshaping district boundaries to account for loss or gain. Okay. Why is that necessary? Don?
Because people move and they lose a lot of population in certain states.
Right. Because in a 10-year period, you're not going to have the same population number in any given state as you did prior to that. It's just people are going to move, people are going to die, people are going to be born. It's just not going to happen. What's here?
Is the district, is the population of the district at 550,000 people, or just 500,000?
550,000. Okay. So in 1980, the boundary lines that made 550,000 may not be the same boundary lines we're going to need in 1990 to make 550,000. We may need a larger boundary, we may need a smaller boundary, depending on whether the district grew or shrank people-wise. Okay? Some states will grow, some states will lose. Alrighty. What's gerrymandering? Don?
It's when the state has to make up its district boundaries and they make it so that each boundary has more of its own party than of the other party. You know, whoever party's in control, they're going to set it that their party's going to keep in control.
Right. Okay. It's drawing the district boundaries in such a way that the party that the drawer wants to be in power will. Okay. Taking a city or taking part of a state and saying, okay, we have so many Democrats in the city, so many Republicans. How can we draw this city so that one party wins and one party loses every time? Okay, is it legal? Tammy? Is it legal, gerrymandering? No. Okay. What made it illegal? What Supreme Court case?
Westbury versus Sutton.
Right, Westbury versus Sanders. 1964, is it? Okay.
Lisa, again?
Westbury versus Sanders, 1964. That was extra stuff I gave you, so it won't be on your worksheet. Okay? Does everybody have that? Westbury. Okay. Westbury versus Sanders, 1964. This this is the Supreme Court case that was ruled that gerrymandering is unconstitutional. That it's illegal to draw these lines to one party's advantage over another. Okay? Any questions on gerrymandering? Are you sure? I know it can be tricky to understand it. Was gerrymandering? Okay. If you take a population of a city, okay, and say that a city is like 60% Democratic and only 40% Republican, okay, and you have a Republican who's given power to draw the city, okay, that person will try his hardest to draw the district line so that the Democrats' vote doesn't count. Like he'll spread that,
So they
that
want it to
60.
be Republican?
Yeah. She may not have been here that day. He wants to be able to draw it so that,
You guys
All
close
of them
right
vote
there.
Republican?
You have it pretty close right there, right next to you.
this is Italy. In case you're wondering, this is Italy.
Or Florida?
What?
And Florida or something, you know.
All right, let me draw it. No, I'm not real good at this. Okay. Here's your city. Okay. You have Democrats living here and here and here. Republicans living here and here and here. Okay. Now it looks like if you would just have this be one big district, it would look like what party would win every time. Democrats, because there's more of them. Okay. But if they wanted to gerrymander it, draw it to the advantage of the Republican Party, they could like put all these Democrats in one district. And then who's going to win? Republican. Okay? Now doing that is illegal because it's obvious that that's what they're doing. Okay, but they used to do it all the time until 1964. They used to just draw a district to any old thing. And also before 64, a district did not always have to be the same number of people. It had to be approximate, like it couldn't be like 10 people in one district and 6,000 in another. But it didn't have to be 550,000. It could be like, this would obviously make it uneven. This might be like 300,000, this might be 700,000, this might be 500,000. But it would pass, because nobody would say anything. Okay. Until 1964, then somebody challenged it, went to the Supreme Court and they said, that's wrong. Because you're taking these people's votes and you're making them worthless. And you can't do that. Okay? Does that clear it up for you?
Yeah, and others like you have a rep and they were voting on it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wants them to want the Republican, they just exclude the Democrats.
Right. Right. Okay. They use this a lot in the South, especially like in the 1950s. I mean, the blacks were allowed to vote in the South now, but most blacks joined which party? Right, Democratic. Okay. So the whites, who were mostly Republican, did a whole lot of this. They said, all right, you guys can vote, but here's the way it looks. So say this would be the whole state. The blacks would get their vote, but they aren't going to win because it's gerrymandered in such a way that the whites would win all the time. Okay, and in 1964, it might occur to you that that's during the whole civil rights movement. Martin Luther King's running around speaking everywhere. People are getting up in arms, and blacks are gaining. Okay, and one of the things that they demanded was this. They said, this isn't voting. This is just, throwing paper in a box and never seeing it again. We want to be sure that our vote does something. What?
100 vote was like 3/4 of a vote, correct?
What do you mean?
Sometimes each black vote was only counted as a 3/4. It wasn't counted as a full vote.
Mm-hmm.
When was that abolished?
Oh gosh, I believe that was right after slavery was abolished. They tried that for a little while and then it didn't work. And then they went on to having it equal one vote. Okay. That was better than this, because this way their vote was worth practically nothing. Okay. So that's the whole idea behind this case. All right. What was the Reapportionment Act 1929? What I wanted to know about that? The Reapportionment Act of 1929. Denise?
The Census Bureau must count and determine the state population loss or gain.
Right. Basically just saying that the Census Bureau are the ones whose job it is to go out every 10 years, count the people, and then tell the states how much population they lost or gained. Okay? And then the states can go on and count and draw their boundaries from there. Okay, moving a little bit quicker. What are the leadership positions in the House by majority? Teal.
Is the speaker, majority leader, majority whip, and whip organization?
Right. Okay. What party gets the majority? Like how is that determined? Don.
Whichever party has the most in Congress.
Right. Okay. You have an odd number like 435. You're gonna have one party with more members than another. So whichever party that is, in that 2-year term, gets to be the majority, and they get to elect the speaker and all the other stuff. Okay. Where is the choosing of the speaker and all the other leaders done? Like how is that done and where is that done? How is that done?
It's done in their party caucus.
Caucus. Good. Okay. It's important that you know that. They don't do it on the floor. They don't hold elections for party leadership on the floor of the House. They hold a party caucus sometime after the election, between November and January. They hold a party caucus, okay, and all the Democrats get together and they say, who do we want to be speaker? And then when Congress begins in January, then they just have to have a technicality vote, okay? And that person then becomes speaker. What's the highest position that a minority person can hold in the House, Tara?
Minority.
Right. How about the Senate?
Minority leader.
Good. Okay, who is the official head honcho in the Senate? Like, who's really in charge? Carrie? The Vice President. But is that really any substantial position?
No, the majority leader is the one that is the governor.
Right. Okay. The Vice President only shows up when there needs to be a tiebreaker, when there's something official happening or something important happening that someone says, Dan, you really should go to Congress today, something important's happening. And he smiles and says, okay. Tara.
No, Democratic caucus, Republican caucus, the other ones.
Okay. The reason I put those on is because those are what those parties call their caucuses. Okay. When the Democrats get together and they pick who's going to be House leader and all that, they call it a caucus. And when the Republicans, they call it a conference. So it's a Democratic caucus and a Republican conference. That's all. Okay, just official titles for them. All right. That's really the whole page. Make sure you understand minority and majority, which I think you do. Are there any questions on that? Okay. Can you describe our congressmen? Sean, what kind of people are they?
They wealthy usually,
Mm-hmm.
well educated,
Mm-hmm.
well paid.
What sex? What
Yeah.
sex? Men? Okay. Wealthy, white, men, educated. Many were lawyers previously, some were actors, okay, athletes, a number of different backgrounds, but the idea is wealthy white men, okay? so that you could easily say a woman or a Hispanic or a black or a Korean or whatever, or a Japanese American would not necessarily be represented fairly by these people. Okay? All right. Who's the current Speaker of the House?
Thomas Foley.
Thomas Foley. How about Senate Majority Leader? George Mitchell. Okay. Now, what's the franking privilege? What's wrong here? You missed a couple of days. What's the franking privilege? Theo.
Free postage for official mail.
Right. Free postage for official mail. May sound like it's not a big deal, who cares? But when you think about it in terms of that the taxpayers are paying for their congressmen to send mail to everybody is pretty expensive after a while. Okay. In terms of libel and slander, what are congressmen free of?
They can, like, speak, well, they can, slander or libel someone all they want, and, when they're on the floor,
Right.
and they won't be accountable for it.
Right. They can't do it walking down the street, but they can do it. They can do it on the floor as long as they're conducting official business about something that pertains to that person. Okay. I mean, they can't just come out of nowhere and say so-and-so's mother is a bimbo. But if that person's mother is involved in a federal case and they're talking about her, then they can say it. Okay. So you understand that. Or they can talk about the president, or they can talk about another member, they can talk about Joe Schmo or the camera person or whatever they can talk about. Okay? Any questions on that? How long is a congressman's term? How long is a representative's term, Andy? 2 years. How many are re-elected every 2 years?
98%.
Okay, I said it wrong. That's correct. How many are up for re-election every 2 years? I asked how many are re-elected every 2 years, and he said 98%, which is a correct answer to the question I asked. But I meant to ask how many are up for re-election every 2 years. Don't think too hard. It's not that. It's more obvious than you think it is. How many congressmen are up for re-election every 2 years? All of them. Okay? If their term is only 2 years, then after 2 years, they're all up for re-election. Okay, you need to know that. A senator's term is every 6 years, so how many of them are up for re-election every 2 years? Math. 6 divided by 2? So, 3 into 100?
99? No, 37.
Right, roughly 33, 34. Okay, 1/3 is what you should know for that. Okay, so every 2 years we have an election in this country, and we elect every representative and 1/3 of the Senate. Okay, so their terms are not spread out so that every 2 years we're gonna re-elect somebody. They're staggered, so that John Hines may not be up the same year Specter is. Okay, you understand that? All right. Current salary is what? 89,500. Okay, 89,005. All right. You should have every block on this chart filled out. Do you? No. Okay. What else is it? What? All Congress has the same. Except the speaker who makes 115. Right. Why? Because he does more work. Okay. All right. Which of these blanks do you have questions on, Teal?
Presiding officer.
Okay, that means who's in charge. Okay, who is the presiding officer of the House?
Where's that?
Speaker.
Oh, is it?
At the bottom. And who's the presiding officer of the Senate?
Vice President.
Vice President, okay? On the chart, Julie, the little extra page. I'll give you one. Okay.
Woody. Woody. Yo, where's my newspaper? I don't have it. I even get a look at it.
Now, a couple of these blocks are tricky. Okay, the second block, number of members for each state. Okay, this means how many congressmen per state. Senate is what? 2. House, what would your answer be for House?
Population.
Based on population, good. At least 1 for every state, and then based on population. Okay, so states like Delaware, Rhode Island, Vermont, they're only going to have 1. Because their whole state population is barely 550,000 people. So they're only going to get 1 district. Pennsylvania's going to get more, but it's based on population. Okay.
Well, how many do we say right now?
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's about 20 or 30. All right. Any last questions? Are you sure you understand everything?
Did not.
No. It really is not a hard test, guys.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I think you know it.
Is it multiple choice?
I don't know.
It ain't multiple choice.
Talk to me later.
Is it really talking? Was it multiple choice?
It's multiple choice, matching, short answer, and a chart.
Back there.
Sort of like that.
Right, exactly like.
Okay.
No, every other.
Andy, you guys pass up your envelopes if you have the stamps on them, and if you don't, put them in another pile. What?
Put my things in.
Where?
Is anybody around? We don't want anybody last name.
We should have What did I say yesterday?
You cut it out.
You should be drafted. Okay. Yeah. You guys, if I've already seen your letter and handed it back to you, fold it up, seal the envelope, put a stamp on it, or just leave it plain. If I have not seen your letters, don't seal them. Okay? That's how I know which ones I have read.
So I just put mine in then?
Yeah.
I have my letters in the envelope there. So I just come it back to the end of the day.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I don't have a stamp for it, so do you want to just
Yeah.
have it anyway? Okay, and Julie, you just hurry up.